communities have been reaching out to us saying, I can now show it to my family and they understand why I come home like I come home. Mm-hmm. You know, they understand what we actually go through, so, which has been very gratifying.
So it's one room, no Hollywood lights, barely any makeup, no music, which we'll get to in a second. It's so stripped down, but was that part of the idea? No, you take that.
Well, that should go to you, Scott.
Yeah, that was the idea. Right from day one, we didn't want any music. We wanted it to be as realistic as possible. It's really a love letter to first responders, nurses, doctors, medics, techs, everyone who works in the hospital, because we all end up there eventually. And so we wanted it to be as truthful as possible. And so we took away all the artifice, and what you're left with is hopefully as real as we can get.
How long did it take you all to notice that there was no music? Because it took 2 episodes. I was like, I could feel something different. And that's the thing, I could feel it. So was that a decision you made very quickly?
Every meeting that we had with every prospective hire, that was part of the thesis statement, that there wasn't going to be any music. And even in the shooting of it, there wasn't going to be no cell phones allowed on set, no sides allowed on set. All the crew wear scrubs. Everybody wears scrubs. There's no differentiation between foreground and background or cast and crew. We are all just company, and we're going to have a very immersive experience, a very atypical way of working, and hopefully come away with something very special.
And we shoot in strict continuity. So we actually, every day, we just start from where we finished the day before and keep going. So with the exception of when we go to the exteriors, which isn't that often, first day of shooting is scene 1 through scene 12, second day is 13 through 20 or whatever it is. We don't do any marks. The set is completely pre-lit. And the camera, we have wonderful, JoJo is our wonderful cinematographer. We have great camera operators, and it's their responsibility to keep up with the actors. So you come to the set and you just shoot.
But you come prepared.
The background actors must have been giddy, because that means they have a job for the whole time, right?
Yeah, everybody was hired on for the entire shoot. So,
Not an LA job. We were very happy to bring a show to Los Angeles.
And the other extraordinary thing is the guest actors who were on the show worked for months, oftentimes just appearing in the waiting room for a scene or two and then be in the background and then eventually have a scene. So we had wonderful actors who signed on to basically be background for 4 or 5 episodes and then have major scenes. So it was and everybody was on the set the entire time, including all of our regulars who are, the set is so deep and big that we see everything. And so everybody was in, everybody was there.
You made Oneers famous on ER. There are Oneers here, right? Or are they just a little different?
Well, there are Oneers, but we are running 2 cameras, sometimes 3, but usually 2 cameras. And it's not about trying to capture a Oneer. We're really careful to say we don't try and do any special shot. We just see where the performance is going to take and how we're going to get there. And the writers and what Scott and his team created was fantastic, because the first thing that was done was the set was designed before the show was written. So there's a floor plan that you could speak to, and then everything had to fit into the floor plan.
Yeah, we couldn't have done this show without a set pre-built, or not built, but at least designed, because it's very kinetic. So when we write, we have a map. I have a map of the floor plan that's about the size of a table. I have all Post-it notes for all the patients. I have little tokens for all the doctors, and it's like playing Risk. You move them around, you follow them, and it's a different way of working, but it's a challenge. And at this point in our careers, I think that's what's really exciting for us. Every day is something new. We have to figure out how we're going to do it.
No, it's so fun talking about Robbie. First off, he's a superb teacher. Does Robbie see himself that way?
Yes, I think he thinks he's a pretty good teacher. It's a teaching hospital, and a big part of working in a teaching hospital is recognizing that there's an ongoing chain to the discipline, and our system is as strong as the weakest link who's coming in terrified and needs to be taught. So he's always looking for the stray sheep. He's always looking for, the shining star. I think it's also a great way of not having to focus on himself by always investing in others.
I know it's meant to be shown as a grave weakness that he has the meltdown. But everyone I know who watches the show, we all talked about it, and it made us love him more. Because finally a doctor looks human. This is the doctor that we all hope that we get in the ER.
You're getting them, they're just not breaking down yet.
Or we're not seeing that.
They all feel that way.
So I have to think that the doctors that you're communicating with, or whoever you guys are communicating with, they have to feel like finally a show is validating me in that regard.
They do. I've been receiving, I thought the mail that I was getting during the pandemic was poignant, but the mail that I've been getting, especially the last couple weeks, especially after episode 13, has been unbelievable. As people are really either recognizing how much they've suppressed in their own careers and psyches, or how much is being triggered, or how much their families are getting to see full context of what they're shouldering and not sharing. It's been really, really
And
cool.
I think one of the initial instincts about the show was to not forget about COVID and what we asked these people to do during COVID and what that cost has been to them, which is really what that's
Yeah, they ignore their broken pieces so they can put ours back together every day.
There's a lot of young actors on the show. Scott, tell me how they've reacted to Noah, working with Noah.
They got their stuff together really quickly, because when Noah comes to work, he comes to play, and he comes to play hard. So they learned very quickly that they better step it up, and he's a great leader. He sets the tone on the set, and what you see is a direct result of that.
That reminds me, so I had heard that of all the doctors who were pulled back in the ER days, they felt out of all the actors on that show, the one actor who could definitely pull off a surgery, if need be, was you.
Yeah, but look at that company. Low bar.
Is that because he's just a good study? He's so great at it? What is it?
Yeah, he takes his craft really seriously. If I needed to be intubated, and nobody else was around, I'd say, grab a knife. No, it's a craft, and all of the cast members, we did a boot camp before we started, a medical boot camp that Dr. Joe Sachs and his team supervised, who's one of our writers and executive producers, and everyone trained on all of these procedures, because you're not only having to do the dialogue, but you're actually having a tremendous amount of manual dexterity at the same time to do what you're actually doing. And because of the way we shoot, you're going to end up doing it. You're going to be right there having to actually do what the doctors do. So it's a challenge.
Those of you that auditioned maybe for the show saw the letter that we put out through our casting agent, Kathy Sandrich, basically calling all pros. We want people that are good at memorizing dialogue and really good with props and are used to working in a company and an ensemble. We want creativity, we want passion, we don't want ego. Come to play, come to work. And we had a tremendous amount of people show up, excited to buy in, excited to be part of something, and I'm sure that's only going to continue. So if you didn't get on the show yet, keep auditioning. Love that.
How did you land on 15 hours? Is that an actual shift, or is that just what episodic order you wanted?
No, we originally the pitch was 12 hours, 12 episodes, 12 hours, and Max wanted 15, so we just had to come up with a little mass casualty to stretch out the day.
It is true, however, that the doctors and nurses have a kind of a period of time that they have to transition over after their 12-hour shift. So it's really not unusual to see them still there for 13, 14 hours trying to hand their patients off.
Catch up on their charting, which is
Charting.
6 hours of their day.
I'd be derelict if I didn't ask this, because this was an episode that you just saw. It had measles in it. Was that just happenstance? Could you tell me how that came about?
Crystal ball. We looked into the future and said, what would happen if we stopped vaccinating?
It's that simple.
But we have doctors and nurses that we work with, and we say, we ask them, what are the things that you worry about?
What keeps you up at night? What does the population need to know? We talk to experts every